Today is a difficult day for many of us, including myself. The attacks in 2001 changed our nation and our security forever. We've been through a lot since the tragic events of 9/11. For many of us, it had direct impacts on our lives and our personal lives especially. It's not something any of us can forget, but rather something that's deeply ingrained in our memories. Each of us can remember exactly where we were when we heard the news of the tragedies of the towers in New York City, the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., and in the fields of Pennsylvania. 19 terrorists associated with Al-Qaeda used 4 commercial airliners as weapons to target our homeland. 2,977 innocents, including 441 first responders, lost their lives in the attacks. Rather than discourage or defeat the American spirit, these cowardly attacks roused a sleeping giant. Operation Enduring Freedom was launched in Afghanistan, targeting the Islamist extremists who engineered and prepared this unprovoked attack. For 20 years, joint and allied forces fought and disassembled Al-Qaeda and other extremist organizations in Afghanistan and across the world. While the fight against global extremism isn't over, we have and will continue to secure our homeland against any and all organizations which threaten it. On August 22nd, 2011, our Special Operation Forces killed the mastermind behind the 9/11 attacks, Osama bin Laden. Recently, in July of this year, we found and eliminated Al-Qaeda's leader, Ayman al-Zawahiri, demonstrating to all that our reach is long and we do not forget. So let all those who threaten our liberty and our nation remember that fact. Our reach is long and we do not forget. Today's events and others like it across the U.S. commemorates the men and women that paid the ultimate sacrifice on September 11th, 2001. As the chaplain said, these days lead to the attacks like any others. At the turn of the 21st century, kids were going to school, people went to work, and life was, well, rather normal and routine for most of us. But everything changed that fateful day when the nation was thrust into chaos. Our first responders and service members faced tremendous adversity without hesitation. They rushed into the North and South Towers of the World Trade Center. They saved personnel at the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., and they recovered the remains of the victims from United Flight 93 in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. These heroes met the challenge and placed themselves in harm's way, safeguarding, recovering, rescuing, and treating fellow citizens. Those Americans were just like you and I. They were moms, dads, sons, daughters, and people who all had bright futures ahead of them. Those were indeed dark times, but you know, light shines brightest in the darkness. These average Americans rose to the challenge and embodied the best of us. They proved that the spirit of 1776, Gettysburg, and Pearl Harbor still lives well in us. The significance of 9/11 is not lost after 21 years. We still mourn those who were lost that day and those who continue to pass from illnesses as a result of responding to the attacks. We honor their sacrifice today. There is no higher calling to serve a higher purpose than oneself. For military members, we sign a blank check when we enlist or commission in the military. That blank check is renewable for up to our lives. Our first responders accept similar responsibilities when they don their uniforms. Their fight isn't on foreign shores, but right here in cities and towns across our nation. Regardless of circumstances or natural and man-made disasters, they are still expected to do the job day in and day out, always ready to provide aid, security, and protection for those in need. I salute you as brothers and sisters engaged in the calling of securing our nation. We wear different uniforms, but the motivations and dedication to duty are still the same. Today, I am thankful we live in a nation that prides itself on freedom, equality, and opportunities for everyone. I am proud to be part of an organization that promotes the freedom for me to serve. I am thankful we have people willing to lay down their lives for strangers and who are committed to the defense and safety of this nation. I am thankful we have communities like San Angelo that provide support to our military and first responders. Life being in the service is not something that's easy, and it's not a road that many choose to follow. The vast majority of us in uniform choose to do it because we believe in America and we want to serve. Unless we hit the lottery, none of us are going to get rich doing this. We get up early, we stay up late, and we answer the call because if not us, who will do these things? We choose to run toward situations that most citizens flee from, whether it's a raging fire, an active crime scene, or a medical emergency. The nation expects our first responders to be ready at all times and in all circumstances. As a commander in our military, I understand this burden all too well, and I call for constant vigilance. Rest assured that our service members are ready to engage our nation's adversaries wherever they exist and whenever they may threaten our homeland. Throughout its history, Goodfellow Air Force Base has supported operations since World War II and in all the major conflicts that followed. Aircrew who carried out the famous Doolittle raids on Tokyo during World War II were trained right here at Goodfellow. We trained personnel who responded to the 9/11 attacks with our operations in Afghanistan and subsequent operations in Iraq and Syria. Our mission is to train, transform, and empower joint and coalition warriors. The threat environment has changed over the last 21 years with the resurgent China and belligerent Russian aggressions in Ukraine. As a result, our national defense focus has largely shifted toward peer adversary nations. By training the future generations of intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance and firefighting professionals, we ensure that our personnel are ready day one on arrival to their new locations to face down the enemies and strategic competitors. The training at Goodfellow and across the rest of the Department of Defense is targeted at preventing another day like 9/11, but none of that is possible without the support of America and towns like the city of San Angelo. As we all go forward today, we must remember that we're all here because of the service of someone who came before us. We stand on the shoulders of giants who forged this nation into a bastion of freedom and hope for the world. I am ever saddened by our loss on 9/11 and the deaths that followed in the aftermath of the 20 years of conflict across the globe. But we must remain resilient. We must remain ready for that next challenge and know the only way to overcome adversity is with each other, standing side by side, shoulder to shoulder. That's what we saw on 9/11, and that's what we see today. We know that terrorists may bring down buildings, but they can never change the American spirit and our devotion to each other. We have thrived as a nation for well over 200 years because we are all different. Our republic, forged in the fires of revolution, has endured and will continue to thrive thanks to the efforts of her defenders and citizens together. May we all be ready to act with the determination and valor of those who entered the Twin Towers in New York City, who rescued comrades at the Pentagon, and who prevented another attack in the fields of Pennsylvania. In closing, let us remember the fallen, those responders on 9/11, and all the members that followed. I'm going to quote George W. Bush as well. Hear me now. Our nation saw evil, the very worst of human nature, and we responded with the very best of America. Regardless of the adversity or challenges that lie ahead, we will continue to light the torch of freedom and take care of each other. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless the great state of Texas and the city of San Angelo and each of you here this morning. Thank you.